I don't remember the exact moment my family fell apart. I remember realizing that nothing felt solid anymore. Not broken, just loose. Like everything was still standing, but no one was really holding it. From the outside, our house looked normal. Lights on at night, food in the fridge, shoes by the door. The kind of place people don't ask questions about. Teachers smiled, neighbors waved. Relatives said things like, "You're such a nice family." Inside, though, things were already shifting. My father started coming home later, then some nights, not at all. No explanations, just absence. My mom started going to bed earlier, not sleeping, just lying there, staring at the ceiling. My older brother stopped talking as much, not suddenly, gradually, until silence became normal. No one sat me down. No one explained anything. And I learned pretty fast that asking questions made the air heavier. So I stopped. When my father finally left, it didn't feel like an event. There was no goodbye, no fight I remember, no moment you could point to and say, "That's when it happened." He was just gone. At first, my mom said he was busy. Then she stopped saying anything at all. His side of the closet stayed empty. His chair stayed where it was. No one moved it. We learned how to live around the empty spaces. Time stopped behaving normally after that. Days didn't feel separate anymore. They blended together. School, home, night. I started measuring time by other things, by how tired my mom looked in the morning, by whether my brother came home that day, by how quiet the house stayed after dark. That's when my brother started disappearing. Not running away, not in a way that made adults panic. He would just be gone. I'd wake up for school, and his bed would be empty. Sometimes he'd come back that night, sometimes the next day, sometimes later. When he did come back, he slept. Deep, heavy, like his body was trying to shut everything out. Then he'd leave again. No one told me where he was going, but everyone acted like I wasn't supposed to notice. That's also when my mom started drinking. Not the way people imagine. No bottles on the table, no slurred speeches, no scenes at first. It started quietly. A glass at night, then another. Always after she thought we were asleep. She hid it carefully. Too carefully. That's how you know it isn't casual anymore. Some mornings, before she even said a word, I knew. It wasn't her eyes or the way she walked. It was the smell. Not alcohol the way bars smell. Not wine, not beer. Something sour. Heavy. Like it had been sitting inside her for hours. It filled the room, clung to the couch, stayed in the air. I learned to recognize it instantly. I'd hold my breath when I walked past her, trying to measure how bad it was, because if it was strong, the day would be different. There were mornings I tried to convince myself I was imagining it, that maybe I was too sensitive, too alert, that maybe this was just how adults smelled. I remember standing in the bathroom, washing my hands longer than I needed to because the smell followed me. It stayed on my clothes, on my skin, like it wanted to come with me. I worried other kids could smell it too. I worried teachers could. I worried it was written on my face. She tried to hide it. Mints, coffee, perfume, open windows even in winter. But it never worked. That smell didn't disappear. It waited. And once you notice it, you start looking for it everywhere. She had hiding places, different places for different days. A bottle behind cleaning supplies, a half-empty one in a bag she never used. One tucked where you wouldn't look unless you were already looking. And the worst part was how normal it became to find them. My first thought wasn't fear. It was, where do I throw this away so no one notices? I was the youngest. My brother was older, but he wasn't there, not really. So things started falling on me. I learned how to make simple meals, things that didn't make noise, things that didn't wake her up. I learned which drawers not to open, which cabinets to avoid. I learned how to read her mood by the way she closed doors, by the way she sat down, by how long she stared at nothing. Some mornings she was sharp, focused, almost normal. Other days, she moved like everything weighed too much. On those days, I didn't ask questions. I just handled things. It didn't feel heroic. It felt practical. Like I was just doing what the house needed so it wouldn't fall apart while we were inside it. I stopped thinking in days. I started thinking in tasks. What needs to be done before she wakes up? Before she gets worse? Before my brother asks? I learned to move like a guest in my own home. Quiet footsteps, soft doors. No questions.
At school, teachers started pulling me aside. They'd ask if everything was okay at home, if my mom was feeling well, if I was getting enough sleep. I always said yes. Not because anyone told me to, just because saying yes made the questions stop. One day, my mom came to school. I knew something was wrong before I even saw her. I could smell it, that same sour, heavy smell, stronger than usual. She wasn't falling over, she wasn't shouting, but she wasn't okay. People noticed. I could see it in their faces, even though no one said anything out loud. After that, things started changing. There were meetings, phone calls, words I didn't really understand. Concern, supervision, parental responsibility. Someone said something about us not being safe at home. That was the first time I felt real fear. Not fear of my mom, fear of being taken away from her. The first night she yelled, it wasn't at me. It wasn't at my brother either. It was at everything. The walls, the room, the silence. I was in my room when I heard it. The neighbors called the police. It took a long time for them to arrive. My brother wasn't home. He had gone out to buy groceries. When the doorbell rang, I opened the door. 2 police officers were standing there. They asked me if there was an adult at home. I said yes. I ran to my mom's room and tried to wake her up. She didn't move. She couldn't get up. So I went back to the door and told them she was very sick, that she couldn't come right now, that everything was okay. I knew she wasn't sick. I knew exactly what was wrong with her. But I also knew that saying the wrong thing would make everything worse. So I said the safest thing I could think of. The officers looked at me for a moment, longer than I expected. They asked a few more questions. I answered the way I thought a normal kid was supposed to answer. Calm, polite, quiet. Eventually they left. That night I understood something I didn't have words for yet. I wasn't being protected by adults. I was protecting them. When my brother came back and saw that the lights were gone, I didn't explain everything. I just told him it was fine, that nothing happened, that Mom was tired. The days after that were worse, not because something new happened, but because nothing did. No one came back, no one checked, no one followed up. Life just continued. Every sound outside started to feel important. A car door, footsteps, someone stopping in front of the building. I started watching the door without even realizing I was doing it. Not scared, prepared. At night, I stayed awake listening, not for my mom, for the world outside. For a while, I thought that was the worst it could get. I thought maybe we'd pass the line and nothing else would happen. I was wrong, because the next thing that happened didn't come from outside. It came back through the door. He walked in like he'd never left. No warning, no call. Just the sound of keys and a door opening in a house that had learned to stay quiet. My mom froze when she saw him. Not surprised, just tired. Like she'd been expecting this moment for a long time and was too exhausted to react to it. He looked around the room, at the bottles we thought we'd hidden, at the couch, at us. His face didn't change much, and that was the part that scared me. He started talking, slow at first, then louder. He told her she was sick, that she was an addict, that she was ruining us. He said our names like evidence, like proof. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just stood there, swaying slightly, trying to focus on him without really seeing him. Then he hit her. It didn't look dramatic. No movie moment. Just a sudden movement that turned everything cold. My brother moved first. I followed without thinking. We stood between them. I remember my hands shaking, not because I was scared of him, but because I was scared of what would happen if we didn't move. I don't remember what we said. I don't remember if we said anything at all. I just remember not stepping back. Eventually, his voice dropped. The room went quiet again. They talked, low, careful, like none of it had just happened. Then he left. The door closed, and the house stayed standing. After that, something changed in me. Not all at once, but enough. Lying stopped feeling like a choice. It felt like maintenance, something you do to keep things from collapsing. She's tired. He's not home. Everything's fine. I said those words so often they stopped feeling like lies. They felt like answers. I learned how to clean bottles properly, how to rinse them so the smell wouldn't stay, how to throw them away far from the house. I learned how to distract my brother, how to answer questions before he asked them, how to change the subject without making it obvious. Sometimes I caught myself lying before anyone even spoke, like my mouth was faster than my thoughts. And sometimes my brother repeated my lies because he trusted me. The house adapted. We moved around her moods. When she was sober, we pretended nothing had happened. When she wasn't, we lowered our voices. We learned which nights to stay in our rooms, which mornings to leave early, which days to avoid being seen. It felt normal. That's the part people don't understand. Children normalize anything if it happens long enough. Years passed like that. Not cleanly, not clearly, just one after another. School, home, silence. I didn't think about the future. I thought about the next hour, the next meal, the next sound from the other room. Even when things started to get better, my body didn't believe it. I still listened for doors, still checked rooms before sitting down, still measured people by their moods. Safety wasn't something I assumed. It was something I checked for, over and over. Eventually, things did change. Not suddenly, not cleanly, but they changed. My mom stopped drinking, slowly, painfully. My brother got clean after a long time. My father came back into our lives, not as a hero, just as a person trying again. We survived. That doesn't mean it didn't leave marks. People ask how we got through it. They expect a lesson, a reason, a moment that explains everything. But real life doesn't work that way. We didn't know we were surviving. We were just doing what the next day required. Sometimes that meant staying quiet. Sometimes that meant stepping in. Sometimes that meant pretending everything was fine until it was. We didn't fall apart all at once, and we didn't heal all at once either. We just kept going. And somehow, that was enough. Alcohol doesn't just hurt the person who drinks. It teaches everyone around them how to survive the damage.